Reagan Library on July 11th, 2022. A quote from Ronald Reagan: "Whatever else history may say about me, I hope it will record that I appealed to your best hopes, not your worst fears, to your confidence rather than your doubts." Here's a quote from Nancy Reagan: "Every period of my life has been marked by dramatic changes, and these early years were no exception." Ronald Reagan, born in 1911 in Tampico, Illinois. Ronald Reagan saved 77 lives as a lifeguard at Rock River in Dixon, Illinois. Ronald Reagan graduated from Eureka College in 1932 in Eureka, Illinois. Here he is kissing his mother. He served in the military. He was a sports commentator and later on a Hollywood movie star. Ronald Reagan was the popular host of the General Electric Theater show for 8 years on CBS. Governor of California in 1967 through 1975. The thrill of victory. Here he is campaigning with his family. Here he is on the campaign trail. He's with his wife on the airplane, having a good laugh. His people loved him. He looks like he's having a good time. The 1980 Jimmy Carter and Ronald Reagan presidential debate. At the end of the presidential debate, Ronald Reagan asked the American people, "Are you better off than you were 4 years ago?" Ronald Reagan won big over Jimmy Carter. Here's Luke. Maybe he could be President of the United States of America. Here's a quote from Ronald Reagan concerning his Santa Barbara ranch. "The ranch was a sanctuary for us like none other. There's nothing better for the inside of a man than the outside of a horse. Alona needs some training wheels. Get 'em up, rawhide!" A full-scale replica of the Reagan Oval Office during his presidency. Everybody except Lona could be a future president of the United States of America.
This door here that's flat to the wall is where guests come into the Oval Office. So if you're waiting to see the President, if you're waiting back there somewhere when he's ready for you, you'll be escorted in through that door. And the door you go to exit leads to the Cabinet offices and the Secretary's office. The desk is a famous desk. It's known as either the Resolute desk or the Hayes desk.
Here are some viewpoints from Ronald Reagan, President Ronald Reagan, concerning the issue of abortion.
They tell us not to impose our morality on those who wish to allow or participate in the taking of the life of infants before birth. Yet no one calls it imposing morality to prohibit the taking of life after a child is born. We're told about a woman's right to control her own body, but doesn't the unborn child have a higher right? And that is to life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness.
Surely there is no human life more frail and vulnerable than that of an infant still in its mother's womb.
With regard to abortion, there's one individual who's not being considered at all. That's the one who's being aborted. And I've noticed that everybody that is for abortion has already been born.
Air Force One. This version of the Boeing 707 jet airplane was entered into the presidential service in 1972 and it was retired in 2001. A police escort car, followed by the presidential limousine, and then followed by, I believe, the Secret Service vehicle. 1984 Cadillac presidential limousine. The Gipper. This is Ronald Reagan's nickname. Is based from a movie character role that he played. What did it say? Okay.
Oh, hello and welcome to Air Force One. Before
Yeah.
boarding, we'll take a few presidential pictures.
Here we are in front of Air Force One.
Thank you very much.
Yeah, thank you. Thank you. No problem. Little gallery there, huh?
Gabby.
Stateroom 1, huh? That's pretty neat.
Senior staff code, cabinet members, military aid. They always had a doctor on board and 2 secretaries in the back. The next section is staff or guests. After that is the Secret Service, and way in the back is the press, and they have to pay for their own seats. Since they don't work for us.
They get a free meal?
No, they have to pay $1 for their meal.
Okay.
Pretty good deal.
Yeah, that's a good deal. Yep, you got the restrooms there. Okay. We can take a video in here, right?
Yes, just no flash.
Okay. Head back to the White House. We had a nice trip over to Camp David. Let's head over to the, let's head back to the White House. What do you say, Luke? Oops, what's the head? What's the head? Marine One. Yeah, okay.
This is the helicopter, right?
Yep.
One of the greatest peacetime supply dramas in the nation's history reaches its climax. In New York, the 11 top American reds are guilty of criminal conspiracy against the devil. Once more, a Moscow-made talent their prices and Berlin.
Ronald Reagan's philosophy was peace through strength. Quote, "We know only too well that war comes not when the forces of freedom are strong, but when they are weak. It is then that tyrants are tempted." Ronald Reagan's philosophy when dealing with the Russians for the arms treaty: trust but verify. Trust but verify.
And then, after everything had been decided, or so I thought, Gorbachev threw us a curve. With a smile on his face, he said, "This all depends, of course, on you giving up SDI." I couldn't believe it and blew my top. "The meeting is over," I said.
With diplomatic talks stalled after Reykjavik, President Reagan travels to the Berlin Wall to deliver one of the most pivotal speeches in American history.
Mr. Gorbachev, tear down this wall. Nothing in the West symbolized the differences between it and the Soviet Union more than the wall. Its removal would be seen as a gesture symbolizing that the Soviet Union wanted to join the broader community of nations.
3 months later, at a summit in Washington, they return to the bargaining table. Gorbachev is ready to compromise his position on SDI.
He was a tough, hard bargainer. He was a Russian patriot who loved his country. But there was a chemistry that kept our conversations.
From President Ronald Reagan. "We know only too well that war comes not when the forces of freedom are strong, but when they are weak. It is then that tyrants are tempted." Here at the Ronald Reagan Presidential Library, they have this amazing World War II exhibit. It's really something else. Check it out. Here are some encoding, decoding World War II machines. Also a wedding dress made out of a parachute. The famous kiss of celebration, the end of the war. This is a famous painting from the famous artist Norman Rockwell. A quote from Ronald Reagan: "It is up to us to work together for progress in humanity so that our grandchildren, when they look back at us, can truly say that we not only preserve the flame of freedom, but cast its warmth and light further than those who came before us." Oh, is this where he's buried? Okay. Both Ronald Reagan and Nancy Reagan are buried here at the library. "Whatever happens now, I owe my life to God, and I will try to serve Him in every way I can." This is a quote. Ronald Reagan, diary, March 1981. Hey Luke, don't get distracted, Luke. Come on, Luke. Come on, Luke. Don't get distracted. Hey Luke, what's going on here? Whoa!